What up?
Is it just me?
Looks like Camilo's hopping in right now too. It's
Oh,
loading up.
Camila, that's a cool name.
Yeah, man. It's
What
nice
is
to
it?
meet you, man.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, you too, man. Here's Desmond.
Oh, hey, what's
He's
up,
a drummer
Desmond?
in training. He likes drumming and singing a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Nice. We need to get him on the road, get him some gigs.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we got Camilo hopping in. I think what we'll do, I just want to know, we haven't met before. Like, what are you up to?
Me or but everybody?
Yeah, we'll do it for everybody,
Oh,
but since you're here, you're ready.
yeah. Yeah, well, I'm Eric. Uh
Hmm.
I am a photographer, wedding photographer for the most part. So I have a gig tonight, but luckily it's not right now. So I got some time, and I figured just come
Oh,
and see. I like to peer into the world of musicians diving into minutia because I do the same thing in photo and music, but I
hmm.
don't do it as much with other people. So it's fun to watch, like oh, I do this and it makes me nervous, blah blah blah, and then I'm just sitting here like I can't even tell or care or know. And then I say the same thing about my art, where I'm like,
Yo,
I'm afraid to add this light because of this perceived idea of looking like fake or something, and my mentors are just like, nah, dude, no one cares, do it.
right.
And it's
Yeah.
just like it's just the same thing, and I just love hearing that.
No, that's so
So that's
good.
what I'm up to.
Yeah, we have met. We've been talking on the DMs a bunch. You just have a different last
Yeah.
name. So yeah, it's good to see you here live, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man. That's cool.
yeah. Last name's a thing. Yeah, same.
Nice. So are you
Yeah.
like playing?
Do so. I play. I have a drum teacher that I've
Hmm.
had for 4 years now, and he's good. Um, and I've been playing with some bands or like jamming with some
Yeah.
people. Surprisingly, I'm better than I think I am, which is, because like I've only been jamming by myself in my room for 4 years. And I go out and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. And they're like, dude, you did it. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's been really, I did do an open mic where I sang like
Oh, wow.
my vocal chords and
Hmm.
played guitar.
That's cool. You did an open mic where you were like singing. Is that mostly what you're doing? I thought you were playing some drums too.
No, yeah, I definitely play drums.
Yeah.
I was at a wedding the other day and a drummer who was really good, he said, "You play drums?" Because I was like asking him questions. And I told him,
Hmm.
I said, it's my favorite thing. Like, I love to play drums. I don't know if I'm good at it. And he said, so you have the soul of a drummer. And I was like, yeah, I do. It was like I wanted to play when I was 16 years old. My parents were on the verge of divorce, so my mom bought me like a FU to my dad drum set, and then my dad sold it the next day, or get returned it the next day while I was at
Hmm.
school. So since then, I just like every time a friend has a drum set, I'm like, can you teach me something so I can play? And then when the pandemic hit in 2020, my wife was like, just do whatever you want.
Right.
And so I got a drum teacher, and it's been so cool, man. Just like
Hmm.
learning all these different styles and starting to feel the pulse and accomplishing things that I never thought I could. Like a samba, I never thought I'd be able to play a samba. I probably
Dude, that's so
practiced a
cool.
samba for like 20 hours or more. Like just sitting like boom, 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 boom. But anyway,
Hmm. That's so
yeah.
cool. Awesome.
What's
Yeah,
up with
well,
you?
for those of you who just are popping in, Sam, good to see you, man. We're just kind of going
Oh,
around introducing ourselves real quick.
hey Sam.
Yeah. So me and Sam were just talking a minute ago. I just like Sam, can you just tell us a bit about where you're from, what you're up to musically?
Yeah, hey, I'm Sam. I'm a drummer from Boston, Massachusetts. I work full time as a musician. I teach. I play at colleges around Boston because that's what you do when you live in Boston. You work for colleges.
Right. It's a college
Um,
town, right?
it's a college town. So I have a gig at
Yeah.
MIT. Um, yeah, I love playing music. I grew up playing all sorts of different things. My mom's from Lebanon, so I play a lot of that kind of music too, a lot of Middle
Oh,
Eastern
cool.
stuff. But I mostly in the jazz space.
Hmm.
That's me.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Really good. Nice to meet you, man. And then Camilo, what's up, man?
Ah, I had some trouble.
It's all
Hi,
good. What's up?
cool. I'd like to thank you for having me, for inviting me.
Hmm.
It'll be a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, will you tell
So
us a little bit where you're from, what you're up to musically?
I'm from Brazil. I live here on Northeast. I'm a
Hmm.
professional drummer, and they were talking about playing samba, and
Hmm.
I love play samba, as you
Yeah.
know, and it's a great subject because there are a lot of Brazilian drummers who has some trouble playing samba as well because you need an specific technique to play it, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're here, man. Especially because Eric's working on Samba stuff, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
today I'm not.
I love samba.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who is your who drummer do you know with play Brazilian music? Do you know some
Mm.
Brazilian drummer?
Are you, who are we talking to?
You.
Jameson?
You.
Oh, me.
Yeah.
Uh,
Have you
there's
been
that
checking out
dude
some?
on Instagram that I found, Isaac Jamba.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
He's a fun dude to follow because he just has so much fun.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the first like I didn't know what a samba was until last year.
Hmm.
And I mean I'd actually heard it, but I didn't know what it was. And the first samba song I heard was Oh
Oh yeah.
what is
Yeah.
that song?
Yeah, yeah.
Mush que nada. Uh and that's Steve Gadd. So
Yeah.
Steve Gadd the man.
Yeah.
Man, there is a great drummer in Brazil who lives in Boston, Rafael Barata. You guys
I
know?
I see him on Mondays, man. He's a legend.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
for
Yeah, yeah.
me,
Who?
yeah, for me
Yeah, yeah.
nowadays, he's the best samba drummer in the
I work
world.
I work with his pianist a lot. Um, he's a special guy, really kind,
Mm.
and he
Yeah,
runs a jam
because
session on
he,
Mondays.
yes, he plays like the pioneers that play samba, like Edson Machado, for
Hmm.
example, Milton Banana, and many others. And Rafael Barata sounds like these guys, and
Hmm.
it's great because there are a lot of Brazilian drummers who play like let, let me know how to say like an American drummer playing samba,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a problem, but if you have to play samba, you have to play like a Brazilian drummer, not
Mhm.
like
Right.
an American drum. As you if you if you want to play jazz, you have to play jazz like an American drum, not like in a Brazilian drummer. No.
Can you explain what is playing like a Brazilian drummer?
Man, it's hard because there is
I know
some
it's a very hard question to answer.
yeah, because there are some accents you can't writing, for example. It's more about you have to listen to a lot as much as you can to understand what is happening. Because if you write 60 notes, for example, when you have to listen to 60 notes in samba, there is 1/6 note that is here, like it's not it's not a perfect execution of 60 notes, you know. You have
Yeah, I
to
see what you're
understand,
saying.
yeah, you have to understand the class. There are a lot of things we can see talking about during our meetings, the next meetings.
Yeah.
It's a great subject. I love it.
Samba is cool as hell, man.
Yeah, the thing where, and I'm like on this journey myself, like I'm the American drummer trying to figure out how to sound more Brazilian for sure.
So is
And
Steve
the
Gadd,
things
though.
that really, what was that?
So is Steve Gadd.
That's true. That's true. We can all get closer to Gad. But the thing that really helped me is when like you were just saying, Camila, it's like when my teacher was like, "Hey, you just need to go listen to Brazilian music. You need to listen to Edison Machado. You need to listen to Milton Banana. You need to listen to Edu. You need to listen to Ramon Montaner." And yeah, there's so much that you can't you can't write down. It's not in Groove Essentials, right?
No. Well,
Yeah.
and it's also about playing with people, right? There was a time where I had a samba gig on Thursdays and everyone was from Brazil but myself, right? And
Mm.
at some point you just got to step in and try stuff, and the first 5 gigs suck,
Yeah.
right?
But then you
After
get a
that,
Brazilian
Yeah.
person to say, like, I like that. And then you feel good, right?
it's
I
just
like
about
that.
learning.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
very hard to learn these things if you don't listen or play with people.
Mhm.
I don't even think it's possible.
Yeah. You just be spinning. I'm
You
so
gotta do
curious,
it.
Sam, for you, when you did that gig, like what were the things that like stuck out immediately in those first 5 gigs? Like, oh, I need to figure that out.
Sure. There's a Rosa Passos phrase that she uses called syncopated syncopation, right?
Mm.
And we're kind of laughing at this because there's these phrases that
Sounds
get
simple.
played. No, well, there's these phrases that get played by the guitar player when they start a
Yeah.
tune, and you have to know where the downbeat is, right? Because he's not counting off the tune, right? So when they go like you have to know where one is and where the groove is. So there were a couple moments like that, where, and then just being
Yeah.
able to play 16th notes so tight, like have all the 16th notes sucked into position was very hard.
Yeah.
I think the better question would be asking the people who play Brazilian music, how do you know that an American's playing it? Right? I think that's the better question.
Right. That is a great question. Before I want to hear what Camilo thinks of that, but before we do that, I just want to say, hey, Frank, welcome, man. It's good to see you. I think you're muted still, so we can't hear you yet. But we were just kind of going around the circle. Everybody was just kind of introducing themselves. If you want to unmute and just
can
tell
you
us
hear
like
me
where you're
now?
from, what you're up to musically. Yeah.
You got me.
Yeah.
So you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, just tell us
Hold on.
where you're from, what you're up to musically, briefly.
Okay, I'm from little town on the lake in British Columbia. Closest U.S. city of any size is Spokane, Washington, about 3 hours
Oh,
south of me.
great. I grew up in Washington. I spent a lot of time in Spokane.
Have you? Yeah, I used to go down for concerts all
Yeah.
the time, but not in recent years.
Cool. Nice, man. So you're like playing out there a little bit?
Yeah, I've played in many bands over the years. I'm 67, been playing bongos, started at 11. A lot of
Nice.
drummers probably start with something like that. And right
Cool.
now I'm playing in a project, a Joni Mitchell project. And
Oh,
I
very
don't know if you
cool.
guys know much about Joni. She is a Canadian, but she played with some heavyweights, that's for sure.
Yeah. She's one of those people who like the crossover between like pop or folk, I guess, maybe you'd say,
It's
and
really,
into jazz, like playing with
yeah.
Wayne and Brian Blade and Jocko, like the
Yeah,
best.
it's so much fun. I got a great bass player I've been playing with for years, and a singer, and a new guitar player who's totally intuitive on it, and he's playing in all the original tunings, right? Which is a huge thing.
Oh, that's fascinating.
All her songs are in her own tunings, and you have to get a book to learn her tunings pretty much.
Right.
What?
Crazy. It's crazy challenging shit, and we're having so much fun with it. It's nuts.
Yeah,
Twice a
that's so
week
cool,
we're
man.
getting together. So that's my story right now.
Cool.
A bit overwhelming, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, very cool. Nice. Well, we were just kind of like riffing on Brazilian music for a little bit, and Camilo's from Brazil.
Yeah.
So we were about to ask
Mhm.
you, Camilo, like Sam's question is super good. Like when you hear an American drummer playing Brazilian music, how do you know it's an American drummer?
Mm, I
Less
think
physical.
Can I say Isaac Jamba did a little bit about that, and he said that it was the way that they played like a 2/4 backbeat. Sorry about the kids.
Oh, you're good.
It was like a 2/4 backbeat gave it away.
Mm.
That you're
Instead of
American.
like independence and freedom, being able to play kind of off of
Outside of it.
that 2/4.
Right.
All right, now, yeah, Camilo, hit me.
so. So yeah, I think the most American drummers play some like in 4/4, and some is written in 2/4, for example. It's just at one point. Yes. For example, I don't know if you guys know the recording Antônio Carlos Jobim with Frank Sinatra.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes, and you can realize clearly that the band is playing 2/4, but Frank Sinatra is singing like in 4/4, and that is for example, it's just one point, and the other is everything happens on upbeat, not on downbeat. For example, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, you know, 1, 2. It's like over the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And it happens with lyrics, with harmonic, with everything. For example, there is a song by João Bosco. Oh, do, 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 po, 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 po. Everything happens on uptime. And when I see American drums playing samba, it's like they are how do you say, they are like thinking a lot how to play, and they don't know how to play, but
They're thinking a lot and they don't know how to do it. Guilty.
like jazz music. When you are learning how to play jazz, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you don't need to do that because it's like, I don't know how to say it. It sounds like a square,
Right.
and you have to sound like waves.
Like it's a
bar
flow.
line
It's like
and
a
one.
like
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is a pattern of foot for them. Poo, 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 poo. But the hands have to be free for play. But you have
Hmm.
to know, you have to have you must have in your mind the clave. But you don't need to play the clave, but you have to be in mind.
Feel it.
Yeah.
It's
No, that totally makes sense.
kind
That totally makes sense.
of,
Also, I want to say hey to JB. I saw you pop in. If you can like turn on your camera or your microphone and introduce yourself real quick. We're talking about Brazilian music, but we'd love to just meet you real quick.
What's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm currently
Yeah.
setting up some drums right now.
Oh, it's all
I'm
good.
Jim Bob Pendell. I went to Indiana University, studied with Steve Houghton, got my master's
My
degree
man.
there. Yeah. New to the group, but can't wait to be a part of it, man. Currently on tour with this country artist named Jake Worthington. And yeah, just staying busy, man, playing drums.
Dude, so cool. We're glad you're here.
Yeah,
I'd love to have another Hoosier here.
Yeah, man, go Hoosiers.
Yeah. Cool. Nice. Well, we were just talking about Brazilian music. So, Camila, that makes so much sense. The way that I had to start thinking about it, there's two things that really helped me as a, jazz musician trying to figure out Brazilian is like what you were saying about releasing on the upbeat. Somebody told me like even like partito alto, you can do it like that's the square way, and then the other way is and somebody told me like, no, you need to do that one because it resolves on all the upbeats. That really helped. And then what really helps me is like when somebody, it's kind of what you were saying about it being a flow. It's like I find a lot of my students when they're learning this stuff, they want to like, they're like, what's the clave for Brazilian music? Like, what do I play over and over? And I'm like, no. That's like saying what's the clave for jazz? It's not that. There's different, at least the way I understand it, and you can tell me if this is right, is that there's different like phrasing, like common things that you build in the structure, and you want to have that internalized so that you can float between them freely, and then that's where everything starts to sound more natural. Is that kind of like on the right track there?
yeah. About the clave, there is a main clave who we call here Telecutec. Have you know this?
Yeah. Yes.
And
Yeah. Say more.
this clave is like in Q&A, you have two measures, two to four measures, and in the first measure you have like the question that happens in upbeat 1, 2, and in the second measure you have an answer that happens in downbeat, one, two, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Unfortunately, I'm not at the drum today because today is my niece's birthday party, and I have to
Happy birthday.
yeah. But the next meeting, I'll be on the drum. But
Yeah, we'd love to see
you
it.
understand what I was saying
Yeah.
about the Q&A?
Yeah, there's like the two parts to the Teleco Teco, basically.
Yes. So I think because of it, the most drummers who is not a Brazilian drum think the samba is written in 4/4 because the clave is complete in two measures.
Mm, right.
Yeah, and let me see. There is another point about the sound, for example, in jazz music we have feathering on bass drum. The bass in Brazilian music is usually soft, like in bossa nova, and there are a lot of kind of samba. For example, partido alto,
Yeah.
telecutec, samba dilatado. There are a lot of, and the most drummers think everything is partido alto, but it's not really. Partido
Mhm.
alto is just a kind of samba. And the flag of partido alto is pu pu pa pu pu pa pu 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 pa pu pu pa. You know?
Totally. So I have a question about this. Um, you know, like I find with my students, if I'm teaching them jazz and I'm like, they need to go transcribe some drummers. They need to check out some drummers. And if they're just starting and I go, hey, go check out Elvin Jones and Tony Williams, they're like, oh no, like this is overwhelming. I don't even know what to grab from this. But if I get them to go check out, you know, maybe start with Art Blakey or Billy Higgins or Art Taylor, maybe somebody who's like, it's just like really just the essentials, then they can build a really good foundation and then build up to some of those more complex guys. So I'm curious for you, Camila, like who do you think are like some more of those like foundational samba or Brazilian drummers?
Mm, let me see if I got what you are asking me.
Yeah.
The foundation, the drummers who is a part of foundation.
Yeah, so I guess a good way to put it is like the most simple Brazilian drummers to study. Does that make sense?
Yes, let me see.
Like for me, if I study Ramon Montagnard, I'm like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. I don't even know where to start.
Yes, but
Like who?
yeah, Ramon is a crazy drummer, you know, but he's not
Right,
a
exactly.
samba drummer, you know. He's a Brazilian drummer,
Mm.
and almost every Brazilian drum plays samba, but he's not a specialist in samba, you know. But I
Right.
think Edson Machado, because
Mm-hmm.
he's one of the pioneers, because samba started played on snare.
Mm-hmm.
They don't use cymbal to ride. You know, it happens. I don't know
Yeah.
how to say, but the snare drums like broke when
Mm-hmm.
a drummer was playing, and he just plays what they play on the snare on the cymbal, and it is the most
Uh,
knowing kind of play samba. And today everyone plays samba like that. And
mm-hmm.
I think Edson Machado is a great example.
Yeah, I
But
agree. But you
yeah.
know way better. So, what are some of your favorite like Edison Machado recordings?
Yeah, there is a disco called Samba Novo.
Oh,
It's like
Samba Nova.
our,
Yep.
yeah, it's like our kind of blue, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for us. Yeah,
Yep. So
but
basically, like anything on that label.
yeah,
What's the
yeah,
one he did with Daniel?
and yeah, and about Rafael Barata, as I talked to him, I love him. As I said, he's the best Brazilian drummer on samba,
Mm-hmm.
but he's it's hard to learn with him because it's the hard level, you know,
Yeah.
even for Brazilian drummers. But if you study how to play samba, you can understand Rafael Barata so well.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of drummers who plays 16 notes so fast. It's
Mm-hmm.
so busy, and I
Right.
don't like it so much
Mm-hmm.
because it's like so straight, and
Yep.
sometimes it's so hard than we need to be. but that's it. There are a lot of things. My head is straightened out thinking about it. I have
Yeah.
to organize something to speak,
Yeah, I feel you.
We have a drummer on the
Frank, what was
West
up?
Coast here. I wanted to mention we have a drummer on the West Coast named Kelso Machado, who plays
Mm,
percussion as well as guitar and sings. Fabulous musician. I wonder if he's any relation.
mm.
What is his
Kelso,
name?
Kelso,
No, I don't
Kelso
know him.
Machado.
I don't know
Vancouver. He's
him.
based in Vancouver now.
Oh, cool.
Do you live in Canada?
Yeah, yeah. There's
Ah,
lots of international people come to Canada and like it here and stay.
okay,
Hmm.
cool.
I saw Airto many years ago at Seattle, and I would count Airto, although I know he's not Brazilian. I'd count him as somebody in the foundational sense. When he did
Ah,
his clinic, he brought out a pair of wooden shoes from France, played them, and he did a samba groove just vocally. He said, "This is what you need. All you need is this."
Mm.
And he had 300 people in the audience watching him, right? It was powerful.
That's
yeah,
so
That's
cool.
my 2 bits.
yeah. Then how you guys know the genre of samba called samba jazz?
Hmm.
It's like samba with jazz. For example, there are a lot of interplay in that, and it's what Rafael Barata plays, samba jazz,
Okay.
because
Mm.
yeah, they are interacting with the other musicians a lot, and
Yeah.
because of
Right.
it, things is more free than usual. There are some
Hmm.
pattern, but the whole place free. There are a song, there are a form, but when you have to play, you have to be free,
Hmm.
like in jazz, for example.
One of the
Yep.
drummers that Rafael hangs out with a lot in Boston is Mark Walker, who we talked about earlier. And
Hey, it's killer.
Mark's a killer drummer. Has the gig with Paquito de Rivera, um, currently
Hmm.
at Sandoval, and he used to play with Rosa Passos. He can play Brazilian music at a certain level, and I've heard him talk a lot about that ride cymbal issue you talked about, where you play all the 16th notes with your hand and it it sounds too busy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his solution is thinking about the comping that you do in your left hand, right? That comes from the language of the percussion, right? And playing the ride cymbal around that comping, such that you're playing short notes, double stops, and long notes, filling in with the cymbal. So it kind of turns
Hmm.
into the,
It's like this vibe, right?
yeah,
Like that thing, right?
that's the vibe. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I found it to be the way to really get the tension out of the right hand. As long as you're playing some sort of a percussive language. You can't play anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I participate in on a workshop with Rafael Barata in the past, and
Hmm.
he says something so different for me and so interesting. For example, he said that the leading is on left hand, and it sounds
Ah.
crazy for me, but when I was trying to do that, it makes a lot of sense because your right symbol is not so busy, and it sounds more soft, more musical,
Mm-hmm.
and you syncopate it a lot with two hands, tack, tack, tack. Like it's like there are a lot of time you are playing like linear grooves. Sometimes you play some linear grooves, sometimes you play together, and
Yeah.
it's like you are writing, you are painting. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
it's
go ahead.
Yes.
it's great, but it's crazy even for me, but makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I learned that. I did a transcription when I was trying to figure out some more Brazilian stuff. I did two transcriptions. I don't remember which one it came from, but I did Improviso Negro and Primitivo. I can't remember who each of those were. I think it might have been Erto, maybe. Do you know these?
Ayrton Moreira.
I don't.
Yeah, it might have been Erto. But that's where I got it. It's dun 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 bum 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 bum. Maybe I can find it real quick.
Yeah.
But I got it from that. Let's see. I had it somewhere here.
Interesting point of note, bringing it kind of all home to jazz, white American people playing Brazilian music. I just heard that famous like TikTok drummer, Grayson Nekrutman or whatever his name is
Yeah.
now in Sepultura.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That you gotta be, I don't know, man. You gotta be something to be welcomed by those guys, which he obviously is super good. But I just, like, that music is so big. Camilo, do you listen to metal?
I can't
Oh,
listen
Eric,
to you because
Eric, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you say that again? Eric, you sound like a Decepticon.
Oh, I would. Anybody listens to Sepultura or metal in general.
I haven't checked much of it out.
I can't got it. It was like freezing, like
Yeah, me too. I found that it's Milton Banana, and the song is called Primitivo. I can play it real quick. I even have a transcription. But here,
yes.
Mhm.
So I love jazz music. I love jazz drummers. I love Brazilian music. But I listen to a lot of genres of music, and as you can Eloy Casagrande, for example, he's the I think actually he's the most famous drummer, Brazilian drummer nowadays. I'm not sure about it, but I think so. Eloy Casagrande, but he plays heavy metal, but
oh
he
yeah,
knows, he knows how to play samba as well.
yes. I have a buddy who he's a bass player in town, and he loves Brazilian music too. And there's some cool videos of Eloy like playing. Well, of course he's like with Slipknot, right? And he's like shredding
Yeah,
metal. But then there's some old videos of him playing samba and Brazilian and stuff, and it's just like, what's this is so killing. And the combination of like his kind of metal vibes plus the
heavy
Brazilian stuff
samba.
is so unique. Yeah, heavy samba.
Yeah,
Right. Here,
yeah.
I'll write his name in the chat for you, Frank. I hope I spelled the last name right.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the drummer for
the-
Slipknot.
yeah.
Here, I want to play this that one transcription I was talking about for you with that has that vibe of the breaking up the right hand. Here. It's this song. Let me know if you guys can hear this. I have the little and this is just the clap. Woo. That's all I did. Hmm. Yeah, I just love it. The energy is so good. And I especially love like this phrase, like it kind of like stretches it out like that. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
This is one
Yeah.
of the things that I love about kind of the music of the Western Hemisphere. You can find it in a lot of
Mhm.
places, is the
Mhm.
way he's playing groupings of three inside of four, right? And that's like a super
Ah.
baseline level thing that now you can think about, right? Because that
Yeah.
language is crazy, but okay, if I can think about dotted rhythms and groupings of 3/4, and now I can check out
Mhm.
Roy Haynes and check out Los Muñequitos and check out Brazilian music, now you're getting somewhere, right?
Mhm.
I don't know, that was just one of those things that I saw in that recording, like, aha, this is something I can, give to a student who's overwhelmed.
Right.
Right.
When you talk about group three, you were talk about
Ah,
Rory?
good. No, but maybe I was thinking about the accent patterns that he's playing. So there
Wow.
was a lot of dotted quarter notes starting on beat 2,
Yeah.
right? Or Roy Haynes is going to play a lot of deen, teen, padeem, peen, peen, padeem, peen, peen, padeem,
Yep.
peen, peen, padeem, bam. And he's going to play a lot of 3/4. And you can
Yeah.
hear this all over the place. And this is like such a baseline thing that we ignore it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that you can tell that this is a white drummer who grew up playing rock and roll, who's now going to go try to play jazz, and it sounds too suburban.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. And
Right.
it's all connected to the melody of the song, right? It's not random. It's all connected to the melody of the song.
Ba 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 da. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so good, Sam. The cool thing I found too is like just like learning that stuff. Like you said, it applies immediately to Roy Haynes. I really like straight eight modern, stuff. And I found this like all this that kind of like orchestration like we were talking about. I found that so useful for playing like straight eights music, where you don't want to just be like, right?
Yeah.
Just thinking of like, this is kind of the melody, the accents, and then voicing the ride cymbal around that. It works so
Yeah.
well.
I don't know how
Yeah.
familiar you are with the music of Danilo Perez, pre-Wayne
A little
Shore,
bit.
a little bit, but he's doing a lot with these odd meter claves and on all these things. And it really comes across as just straight eighth music, but with more of a concept, right? And I remember when I
Right.
studied with him, he'd have us do all these exercises hearing groups of fours inside of groups of threes, and we'd be clapping and
Mm.
stomping and singing jazz standards over the top. It was very interesting. Um,
Oh my gosh.
and it's a great way to develop some sort of time, being able to go ba, 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 and then step something else in your feet. It was a very useful thing. It kind of
That's
opened
wild. Is it similar to like what I know Ari Honig does a lot of that stuff, like singing Billy's Bounce and clopping dotted quarters? Is it like that kind of thing?
I mean, it's just the understanding that when you're playing Afro-diasporic music, I also have a Peruvian gig, and it's the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's the goal is that, 4/4 and 12/8 do one of these things, right?
Right.
And even when you're playing swing, it's the same thing. And just it's this idea that you're able to free your mind to hear phrasings of 3 and 4 inside of a quarter note, which is, what we were doing, or phrasings of 3 and 4 eighth notes and triplets. So ba, or ba, uh, uh, either way. And it's more of an exercise to prime your brain to play than it is an actual, it was one of the first things that stood out to me in that that transcription you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
There is an exercise that I learned from FR Barat too. You can improve your samba playing on the drums. You play the pattern on the foot, on the feet,
Yep.
and you play the two hands in unison in the second and fourth 60 notes. Two, one, two, in unison, and you can play as fast as you can, you can is how do you say increasing the level, for example. It helped me a lot with samba playing because you can
Totally.
sound more strong.
It's like you can hold those two things, those opposing things, both of them in your head at once. I had a lesson.
Could you try play it?
Me? Let's see.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot. So you're saying like.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe, right?
Can you speed a little more?
All right, he's testing me. Here we go. Yep. Still there?
Yeah.
It's a little less.
It's great, man. It's great to improve your play. And it's more great if you play on the head because you are studying the sound as well.
On the hat, you said?
On the head, on the snare.
Oh, on the head.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
And
no, that's so good.
Your baritone technique is great, but you can think a little more soft, just it, but great.
Thanks. Yeah, that's something I've been trying to get that bass drum right down low where it's nice and just takes so much just dialing that in. It's easy to be like boom, 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 boom. Especially like us American guys, we're playing back in black is how we start,
Yeah, because it's so busy. There are a lot of notes playing.
Right.
But that's it.
Well, and just from being around Rafael and Mark and people who play Brazilian music, they don't always play the full pattern on the bass drum, right? There's a lot of other things that happen.
Yes, but
what are they doing?
the most of time he plays the pattern. But as I talk to him, every time you have to how do you say interplay with the other. For example,
right?
With background, with hands. But in the most time you have to play the pattern because it's the base, it's the foundation.
Yeah.
Even the band.
Yeah.
Like the feathering.
Exactly. It's like you start with that, but you know when it's good to change it versus when it's not.
Right.
That's really where the magic is. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when I were talking to play, trying to play jazz music, when I play
Mhm.
the bass drum, what I have to do with the bass drum, you
Mhm.
know? In the first time, the second time, the syncopated notes, it's it's like it.
Yeah. It's like Latin, you said? What did you say?
It's like it,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like jazz. Yeah.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, Sam, what do you notice those guys are doing with the bass drum? Like the other stuff that's happening.
Yeah. It's all music specific, right? So we
Mm.
could list out a whole bunch of things, but it's all about how you use it in the right context. So it's better to just watch a whole bunch of videos. One of the things I was practicing lately was using a dead stroke on beat one and then an open stroke on the second half. So like that, like so.
Yep.
And that's nice for quieter
Yep.
sections. And it has a kind of a nice batucada like feeling that's like heavy on the downside. That's really cool.
Mhm.
I mean, as long as you're locking in with a bass, I mean that's really the solution. And also
Yep.
sometimes playing the samba pattern can get tiring. So I've seen people sub out 2/8 notes for just a quarter note.
Mhm.
But the thing that I've been practicing recently is just this.
The open
And
close.
that
Yeah.
takes some time.
It's hard because it depends on the sounds of the bedroom.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And sometimes Rafael Barato plays like that,
Mhm. Yeah.
like a surdo. I
Yep.
don't know how to say it in English, surdo in a
No,
school
yeah,
of
that's
samba. It's called
right.
samba. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's great. It makes a lot of difference when you are playing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One of the names that comes up in the United States a lot is Rogério Picado, the percussionist who also plays drum
Mhm.
set. Um, and I remember seeing him play playing full hole. What's the big drum you use in full hole? Um,
Zabumba.
Zabumba, right? And just seeing what he's doing with a mallet, it's
Yeah.
other options,
Like,
right? Right,
yeah.
right.
So as I live in Northeast, forró is here. It's for here, you know.
Ah,
Yeah, I love forró as well.
that's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, okay, both
that's
of you
it.
guys teach, right? Camilo and Sam? What about you, Frank? Do you ever teach?
Yes.
No? Okay. That's okay. So, this is something we were talking about a second ago. I'm curious what you guys think about this, what you do with your students. Like we were talking a second ago about like holding a couple different things in your head, whether it's like the phrasing plus the ostinato or the subdivision, whatever. Like I had a lesson with a guy once who told me it's kind of like playing layer chess. And the layers that he was saying is like layer one is the quarter note, layer two is all the offbeats, and then layer three is like whatever you're playing, and just always holding those things in your head. I've used the same idea for like my students with like, oh, you got to have the form of the tune is one of the layers that you're holding. You got to have different kinds of phrasing. You also have to have the subdivision in the time. Where students struggle, I find a lot of times, is shifting from like one layer to the other, or also learning to just hold multiple layers at once, being able to think about what they're playing, but also their phrasing. I have a couple ways that I use to like get people to like start to reconcile those things, but I'm curious for you guys if you've seen that or like how you've worked on that with students.
I got one. I'm not a teacher, but I've been taught by 5 different teachers.
Mhm.
And I was doing guitar and singing, and so that's the idea, right? Is mastering multiple things, like you're just breathing, like they're
Mhm.
limbic. And
Exactly. Yeah.
so I got a lot better at playing guitar and singing in time by practicing standing on a leg. Because like I
Mm.
had to master balancing myself, which I didn't know how to do. So like I
Mhm.
didn't have the bandwidth to give to singing and guitar at the same time. So I either hit what I was trying to hit or gave up and did something that still held the pulse and maybe even the feel, but at least like kept the rhythm going. And but it was the idea of like, okay, if you can't master these three things, what can we replace that you can master? And it made it feel a lot
Mhm.
more achievable by being able to do that. Then you switch to like hopping or whatever, but it's hard to do in
Yeah.
drums, obviously, because you're seated.
Mhm.
I can
Really
relate
good.
to that as a percussionist
Yeah.
because I'm not always sitting behind a drum kit. And I find if I'm
Mhm.
trying to play like a shakiri part or a clave part sitting down, it's way harder than standing up because my whole body is giving me the signals, and I can, my brain can drop the energy it's using to keep tempo up because my body's pushing me forward just by its movement, just one leg to the other, whatever. And we do similar things sitting down with our feet, right? But
Mhm.
it's come clearer and clearer to me that if I want to play fast, especially clave or shakira, stand up. And everybody else you're
Yep.
playing with is cueing to you as well. They're seeing what's happening, and it creates energy for everybody.
Mhm.
I'm a
That's so good.
multi-instrumentalist, but mostly percussion. But I
That's awesome.
my main thing is the group energy, and that's why I do it, because I get to communicate with people in a language that isn't English. It's music, and it's the
Mhm.
energy of music that we're sharing. And sometimes it'll blow the roof off no matter what building you're in. It's crazy.
Mhm.
And doing all that, all you have to do is get up and play shakiri when everybody else is, slowing down or having trouble keeping time. If they see you jumping up and down, it works. So
Yep.
beginner,
So
I'm
good.
an amateur.
No, but focusing, I mean, at the end of the day, we could talk about every kind of groove ever, but the whole point is the people you're playing with and the music you're playing. So you're right on. Sam, were you
The
going to say
the
something?
question you asked was about these layers of focus.
Yeah.
And I understand where that comes from because it feels that way, right? Because what we're doing is so intense, right? But when you
Yep.
listen to Elvin or to Brian Blade, or I love those two because the example is so strong. They're
Mm-hmm.
only doing one thing, it seems. They're just playing the melody of the song over and over and over again, right?
Yep.
I remember watching, I played a gig. I was pinching myself while I did it. I was playing percussion, and the rhythm section was Daniela Perez, John Patitucci, and Brian Blade. That was the rhythm
Whoa.
section. Um, and other than being completely destroyed rhythmically, like they just bowl you over. Um, one of the things I noticed is they like to drop these bombs on stage, and I was trying to figure out where the hell these bombs are coming from. They're seemingly random until I
Mm.
started singing the melody of the song, like and turned it up so loud in my head that of course that these bombs are just happening in the melody, right?
Right.
Um, and that didn't help me play with them any better. It was still that was a tough gig, but it
Yeah.
it was just one of those things. So you're talking about these layers of time. It's like shit. I got to play a groove, and I have to hold that down. I have to sing the melody of the song in my head, and I have to hold that tone, and I have to play with
Mm-hmm.
someone else. That's a lot until you decide, well, wait a minute, that person is also feeling a groove, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
also supposed to be hearing a melody. Most people don't, but they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? So if we all just commit to playing time and playing the melody and feeling where we're at in space, it it takes this like multi-layered thing into just one thing to think about. That doesn't make it easy,
Exactly.
but it means
Right.
now you can make music, because no one who has ever successfully played music has thought about more than one thing at once. It's not possible. You can't think about too much while you do
It's
that.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. You can't be, how are you supposed to be in the moment if you have all of this stuff running through your head, you know?
So how do you
Yeah.
do this, right? Because this is like, as a student,
Right.
that doesn't help me at all. I'm even more overwhelmed because I have all this stuff to do. You just train each thing
Mhm.
separately and be very
I,
patient
Yep.
and kind to yourself.
I'm sorry. I have
I
a
hear you.
question for you guys about jazz drumming, for example. So the most important thing about jazz drumming for you guys is the form.
And the melody.
But the form is the
Yeah,
melody.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
It's
You know,
like,
I would,
yeah.
in interest of like merging it into one thing, kind of like what Sam was talking about, I think for me, I just think of the most important thing is like phrasing, you know? And the melody gives us the form. The melody gives us phrasing. The form is just phrasing, right? And like Sam was just saying, he's playing with you know, Patitucci and Brian Blade. It's like they're all interacting with that phrasing, you know? They know the phrasing of the melody, and then they're controlling the energy by like interacting with the phrasing. When am I going to agree with the phrasing? When am I going to contrast the phrasing? So for me, that's what I see like the best people is like they're not in the level of like my vocab or my technique or blah blah blah. They're interacting together on the level of phrasing and like energy.
Yeah. And the time. People
Yep.
get stressed out when we talk about this, and I understand because my time is horrible, but like
Same.
that is your like our job, right?
Yeah.
And it's like as long as you can feel this pulse and then a melody on top of the pulse, everything else is almost pre-programmed.
Cool.
Right. Yeah.
And I
No,
can,
that's so
I'd like,
great.
Great, great.
What was that, Frank?
I just wanted to connect a couple dots since I sat down here, which it makes sense to me what Camilo was saying when we were talking about American samba players. And to me, there's this contrast. To me, what he was saying was we were putting ourselves in boxes with our bar lines.
Yeah,
And what we need to do is flow like water. And so
yeah.
this is where that part about levels, I'm not saying it's not important. I know that it is, and I'm working on it myself. But ultimately, we want to forget that stuff and flow. And
Exactly.
it's great that we can talk about it like this.
Yes, yeah. You talk exactly what I wanna say. But it's like levels, you know. You can there is a level you are in the box, but you have to. Man, I gotta go. I'm sorry, but my time is over. It was great
It's all good.
because, as you can see, I'm not a fluent speaker. I'm just a student, but that's it. It was great.
Oh man, it's so great to have you here. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Hope to see you again
Thanks a
sometime.
lot. Bye.
Bye bye. Yeah. Yeah, Sam, you're totally right. It's like there's the phrasing and then there's the feel. I was having I had a lesson with Quincy Davis the other day. We just hung out on Zoom for a little while,
Wow.
and oh, it was so great.
Yeah.
And the really like we talked about a whole bunch of stuff, but something we kind of landed on was like you're always working on two things: your feel and your musicality, which is again just like time and phrasing. It's like that's all it is, and you just go deeper and deeper and deeper into the feel, deeper and deeper and deeper into the phrasing, and then you hear those guys like Brian Blade, and it's like I love how you said you're like the what did you say? Like the rhythm or the feel just like bulldozed me. Like it was just so powerful.
And Yeah, well, yeah, and if you blink, you miss it.
Yeah.
It's this train that you have to
Right.
be on. And also, one of the things that I realized after the concert is he didn't play anything I can't already play. And that doesn't mean I'm a good drummer, right?
Right.
Is there's this power in incredible simplicity, right?
Hmm.
And that's kind of where he was at. I mean, one of the drummers I love is Jamie Haddad, and he'll just
Hmm.
sit there, he'll just play one accent in the right place, and it means so much more.
Yeah.
But it has to be in time. It has to be funky, right? That's it.
Yeah.
You know. Now how to share that with
Phrasing, feel.
students, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's a process, you know? It's like there's those levels, and ultimately we want to be completely zoomed out and just in the moment and phrasing and feel. But yeah, you got to like sometimes go down to the detail level, fix some stuff down there, zoom back out, zoom in, zoom out, get comfortable with that, and then when you get up on the stage, just kind of like relax and vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's tough advice to give to a student, especially if they
Hmm.
don't know what that feeling is they're even going for. Because what does it mean to be relaxed? For a lot of students, that just means to drag, right? Um, right? Is I'm relaxed.
It
Oh,
means
I
to
feel
have an
like
extra drink before the
I'm,
gig.
yeah, I'm fall like this feeling of I'm falling backwards. Like that's not what we're going for. Um,
No.
and that's something I'm chasing myself, and I think we all are, is what does it mean to,
Yeah.
really play pulse? And that just comes from practice, I assume.
Yep. I think so too. That's my best
Oh,
guess
and
right
that,
now.
and then there's playing laid back, which isn't dragging,
Oh
but
yeah.
a lot of people might perceive it that way. And I'm a big fan of laid back drummers. Um, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Motown, funk, some of that stuff is behind the beat as well as anticipating. You know, there's strange stuff going on there. But I just wanted to mention, like I live in the
Yep.
Tulies. The closest big town is Spokane, really, or Kelowna. But I've got Larnell
Mm.
Lewis coming to visit. He's going to be playing in Trail, which is an
Whoa.
hour and a half drive with a Canadian pianist. And I don't know the bass player, but I've got my ticket because I want to see Larnell live. His first couple of stuff he put online that was instructional, I thought, fuck, this guy is so straight and so simple. You know, just the way he got it across, and to watch him play was enough for me. So
Yeah.
that's my big
Absolute
thrill.
beast. That's so cool,
Not New
man.
York.
Yeah, you'll have to tell us how the show is. Nice. Cool, guys. Well, I got to get running to my next thing. I think this might be a good time to sign it off. Thank you guys so much for coming. It's so great to meet you all.
Thanks for creating this thing. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it, Jay.
Yeah,
pleasure to meet
of
you.
course. And it's just getting started. So invite your friends, and we'll keep hanging. Cool.
Okay. Thank you much.
See you
Bye
guys
bye.
later.